So I think I want to start with a little bit of an overview, just because this is our first time we're doing this workshop live stream, and there's a lot of different types of people on here. And I'm so excited. So welcome everybody. I see there's people who've been around the Bentinho block for a while, so it's fun to see you guys. And there's people who have been familiar with Bentinho, but they might be new to Trinfinity Academy. There's also people who are just brand new to this whole thing. So these workshops are actually designed for everyone. So you're going to be getting nuggets really wherever you're at, I imagine. So the first basic thing I want to say about the Trinfinity Academy is actually quite profound. And it points to Bentinho's genius. And that is that there are these two pathways you'll see. You'll see the pathway of enlightenment and the pathway of empowerment. These are really two sides of the same coin. And why his genius is Bentinho is blending these two, because they're absolutely crucial, because when they work together, life then sinks in and starts to flow in a gorgeous way. Our collective, our civilization, humanity is in a massive accelerated place. And what happens in these accelerations are these, when the collective consciousness is ready to receive a certain idea or a new paradigm, an expanded perspective on what life is about, it starts seeping through different speakers, so to speak, loudspeakers on the planet. And the self-realization path has been around for quite a while. And the awakening, the awareness, the presence. And that has actually accumulated quite a bit of culture around it, as far as what is awakening, what is enlightenment, how do you become enlightened, how do you meditate, all those things. So you have that path. And then you also have the empowerment path, which is like the law of attraction and these manifestation principles, which maybe say 20-ish years ago really started downloading onto the planet through different channels and different sources. So, and now it's becoming really, really, really mainstream, which is beautiful. However, humanity, the collective's out of space now where these two seemingly separate concepts to some people can start to be like, oh, these are two aspects of the same thing. And so that's what Bentinho's doing. That's where his genius is. First of all, his ridiculous articulation, but also the precision with which he sees these, I guess, variables or these structures within consciousness. And so he's uniting different structures so then we have a stronger platform to then move forward. So for people who primarily only know law of attraction principles and they're not so familiar with the aspects of self-realization, of we are already that which we seek, the love, the presence, the awareness, that is who we are. When they're not settled in that, then perhaps more mainstream law of attraction practitioners are trying to manifest something in their life that they want, that they like, so that they don't get stuck with something that they don't like. Like they want to manifest the great job and the great lover and the great, whatever housing situation, because they so don't want to get stuck in the boring ho-hum job with a train wreck relationship and having no money. So a lot of the motivation for just a mainstream person when they hear law of attraction principles, it resonates. They get excited, they get lit up because they're recognizing this aspect of truth of, oh, this is how life works. But then they take that and they try to incorporate that into their existing lack paradigm. And so since they're trying to create to avoid the crap or the lack, they're still acknowledging, they're implicitly still living in a lack paradigm. They're just trying to it's just another way of orchestrating circumstances, perhaps, And so it's set up for failure. That's why a lot of people get inspired by law of attraction and then get disillusioned because it doesn't work, because they're still in the existing paradigm. Then on the other side of the coin, the self-realization folk, you could say the non-duality folk, but really the self-realization folk who experience the oneness of life, the unity of life through more of an inner landscape exploration. When they're sitting at home on their cushion or they're in the woods by themselves, when the circumstances are such that it allows for a very quiet inner exploration, it's not very fun to then leave that and then to go out into the world where things are kind of clunky and you're bumping around and people are fucking crazy and you're trying to navigate through life in the world. So that self-realization path in and of itself can often lead to a retreating from life. Let me go sit in my cave. Let me just meditate. Life is so much sweeter when I meditate. If I sit here, become realized, then somehow everything will shift. And old school spirituality is, let me sit here and be realized until I'm God realized, and then I pop out and I don't know, I guess I leave. But the whole point of being here, we're in a physical body for a reason. We already know non-physically, undoubtedly, that we're one with everything, that there's purpose to life. And so we already know that. So we don't need to just try to rush back to that. We're here in our physical bodies for a reason, and that's to explore. So that's when we combine these two paths, the self-realization, the awareness of the oneness of life. Everything is presence energy. Everything is arising in my field of consciousness. Like, I am the creator of all of this. That's so crazy. And then when we know how to focus, to adapt, to adjust our perception of life, then it works in like a massively gorgeous orchestra. The orchestra is then playing together. Okay. And so last thing I want to say, kind of in this genre, is also, if you're new to Infinity Academy, I've had some Q&As, some questions back and forth about it. Seems very cognitive. And it is. Like Bentinho so geniusly, it's like he's charting the inner landscape. He's charting the inner landscape of consciousness, which is like inner, outer. And so he's really precise with these definitions and distinctions that he's making. I personally think this is actually very, very important, but it's not just intellectual. If you're looking at the Infinity Academy as a way, like if you're approaching it from an orientation like going to college or going to school where you learn a bunch of content, you regurgitate content. You learn content, regurgitate content, and it stays at that level, the Academy won't work for you. It's more, he's pointing, he's offering these concepts to point in certain directions, and you just let them settle in. You just let them sift in and settle in as they do. Because, again, if we try to, if in and of itself, we just say, hey, you know what, follow your bliss. Life is on your side. Do what feels good. And that's it. People resonate with that, again, like I said, because there's some aspect of truth to it. But if they're still trying to apply that within their existing paradigm of other world, there's people out there who are going to try to screw me, et cetera, it's not going to work. You need to expand your cognitive framework of how you understand life to be, expand your paradigm, expand your point of view of what life is actually about, how life actually works. And then when you expand that, in a way, how I see it, my body mind can then be like, oh, that actually makes sense. On a logical level, if everything's energy, and if et cetera, and everything's in consciousness and whatever, then I can trust, and okay, cool, actually, if I go with my vibrational resonance, that does make sense. I can relax and trust that more. So this cognitive framework is actually really, really helpful often to then allow you to live in this new paradigm.